$13,652,875. That's how much we spent on Meta ads scaling Shopify brands in the last 6 months. And while that number sounds impressive, it wasn't all just profit. We made massive mistakes that cost us 6 figures until we cracked the code. Now, luckily for you, I'm gonna go ahead and share 6 of the largest lessons so that you can avoid making irreversible mistakes that could cost you big time. In fact, one of these lessons was a single change that took one of our brands from losing money to a 5.56 return on ad spend almost overnight. So stick around because I'll show you exactly how we did it. Number 1, clarity beats curiosity. We wasted thousands of dollars on ads that got clicks, but they just didn't convert. People were interested, but they weren't buying. And we made this one simple tweak. It was kind of like we just flipped this switch. And by doing so, our cost per purchase drops from $31.30 all the way down to $12.28. Here's the thing. Being clever in your ads is tempting, but clarity is what converts. One of our brands, we were running this image of one of our t-shirts on a model, which was performing at a $31.30 cost per purchase, and it had a 1.56 return on ad spend. But the problem was, our break even was a 2 return on ad spend. In other words, we were losing money to get customers. Sometimes with creatives like this, you don't really know if people are clicking because of the person in the photo or the necklace or the bracelet. What we've learned is that people just flat out click for weird reasons. However, we started running more clarity-driven ads with our products as the focus, and we began showing off different color variants. And once we did that, our cost per purchase dropped from $31.30 to $12.28, and return on ad spend increased from a 1.56 to a 5.56. If you do nothing else that I recommend in this video, do this. Have great clarity in your ads. People want to know when they're getting sold to and not think that it's something that it's not, only to have to click backspace after they clicked on the ad. And this simple tweak was the difference between losing money and being highly profitable on the first order. Number 2, test more, use less. Here's what most people get wrong. They only test a couple of creatives in their ads and think that one of those is going to strike gold. But the statistical probability of that happening is very, very low. You need to test a volume of ads in order to get to what we call super ads or outlier ads. And when I say a volume, I mean a volume. I mean 20, 30, 40, 50 ads. Because if you can test 50 creatives, you're gonna find 1 to 5 creatives that will outperform the rest 99 to 1. And those are the things that if you do those, you'll be able to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars with only a few ads and do so at a massive profit. From a testing standpoint, budgetarily, we recommend that you spend about 10% of your budget testing in order to constantly find ads that you can pull in and that you can scale. By the way, if you want our testing framework and the unique stuff that we do, we call it the Scientific Facebook Ads Testing Course, which is a few bucks, and you could check out that in the description. Number 3, don't run to Facebook or Instagram shop. When you launch a sales campaign, you have an option to drive traffic to your website or give Meta the choice of your website and your shop. And look, like I love Facebook and Instagram shop for organic posting, but running ads to them, it's really more of a sales funnel black hole because you don't know what's going to happen. And if Meta gets to choose where they're going to send the traffic from your ads, where do you think they're going to send it? Most of the time, they send it to their shop instead of your website. And the result is usually lower conversion, lower average order value, more refunds from lower quality customers, and as a result of that, your cost per acquisition goes up and your return on ad spend comes down. Whenever we allow Meta to decide to run our ads, typically our results get worse. In one case, Meta was sending about 90% of our traffic to Facebook and Instagram shop, and it was performing below a 1 return on ad spend. And so if that doesn't make you die a little bit inside as an advertiser, I don't know what will. Instead, always control the buying experience. Drive traffic to your Shopify website where you can optimize for AOV and retention. And don't feel bad. If you're running to Website and Shop right now, here's what I want you to do. I encourage you, watch this video that we filmed on how to calculate your return on ad spend from your Instagram and Facebook shop to decide if it's actually working for you or if it's not. But let me tell you, most people are shocked when they learn how much money they're losing by allowing Meta to run to its Instagram or Facebook shop. Number 4, use snowball scaling. This is how we will quietly, with great stability, scale budgets from $100 a day to $1,000 a day to $5,000 a day and beyond without Meta freaking out and wrecking performance. You know, we used to crank up budgets by 20 or 50% several times per week and just cross our fingers and hope that nothing broke. But what we found was, more often than not, things broke. So instead, we snowball scale. This is where we set up an automation that will increase our campaign budget by 5% per day so long as we are inside our target return on ad spend or target cost per purchase range in the previous 7 days. So as long as in the last 7 days we're in a good spot, we're going to increase the budget by 5%. And while it might not sound like much, this snowball scale strategy will double your budget every 14 days. And if you think about that, it means you could be 4xing your budget in a 28-day window of time and do so with great stability. Number 5, don't day trade ads. Play the long game. Constantly tweaking and turning off ads and turning on ads and injecting new ones and adjusting the budget and creating all of this fluctuation is just a recipe for burnout and bad data. You see, Meta needs time to optimize and do its thing. And most often than not, the best thing for us to do was nothing at all. Usually when we even launch a campaign, we don't touch it for the first 7 days. We pretend that the first 7 days doesn't exist, as painful as it might be to look at the results. The reason why is Meta has millions of data points on our ideal customers and is flat out smarter than us. So we don't try to out-optimize it. Recently, I was actually on a coaching call in our Max Profits mentorship, and I was helping optimize, it was a high-ticket outdoor product ad account. And she was getting these great results with her ads to the tune of like 3-4 return on ad spend. And to back it up, she was having these record sales days. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, her sales flatlined and her results tanked to where she was losing money in like no time flat. We couldn't even pinpoint what precisely went wrong until I looked at the history of the amount of edits that she was doing on the campaign and the ads. Turns out, in the previous week, she had a couple of bad days, and so during those bad days, she day traded. And what I mean is, she went in there and she began shutting off ads, injecting new ads, and started adjusting the budget almost every day for several days. Doing that wrecked everything, and in the previous 7 days, her results were great as a big picture, but in those few days, they were bad. So she day traded, and as a result, her entire campaign got wrecked. So here's what I told her to do. I said, you know what, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna sit, we're not gonna do anything for at least a week. Within 3 days of doing that, she was running a 4+ return on ad spend again. And this happens all the time. People kill their own campaigns by over-managing them and sabotaging themselves. So if you're constantly tweaking your ads every single day, you're probably sabotaging yourself and you may not even realize it. So instead of making decisions based on campaign performance today or maybe even yesterday, only look in 7 and 14-day windows, because anyone can have a bad day or two, but as long as the bigger picture, that 7-day window or that 14-day window are good, we don't necessarily worry about a bad day or two. And this gives us a more clear picture of what our real performance is without these emotional knee-jerk reactions. By the way, if you're new to this channel, we help e-commerce business owners create predictable customer acquisition machines using a lot of cool marketing stuff like meta ads and email, and not having to depend on word of mouth and luck. And so if that sounds like you and you're interested in learning more about how we could help, I encourage you, go check out the Max Profits mentorship. It's in the description of this video and you'll get to see what it's all about and how we're helping brands grow right now. And lastly, number 6. It's not always an ads problem. Look, if your cost per click is good, but no one's adding to cart, then Meta isn't the problem. You are. Most people try to fix their ads, when really they just need to fix their website. And that's why so many brands, they bleed money without realizing it. Like, it sounds counterintuitive for a video on advertising, but from doing thousands of optimization sessions, you'd be surprised at how many people are getting incredible cost per clicks and their engagement on their ads is fantastic. Everything looks good, but they get very few add to carts or purchases. It's very, very skewed. And so this often tells us that you don't have an ads issue, you have a website issue. And a good rule of thumb is that if your cost per click is under $1.50 in the e-commerce space, and you don't have a lot of added carts, then you likely have a website issue. Whether that's price or product or free shipping threshold or just poor experience for your customers, you likely need to fix that and you're magically gonna see your ad performance go up. Now be honest with me, have you made any of these mistakes? Drop in the comments the number that made the most sense to you that maybe you're doing. And while you're down there, subscribe to our channel for more content on how to grow your e-commerce business. And if you're wondering what you should watch next, YouTube tells us this video right here is probably the next best video. And since they have an uncomfortable amount of information on all of us, it's probably pretty accurate.